Alright, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from Street Scores, and I'm coming with a big time burgundy and gold Rico report. We got to break down all of the Friday night most important observations and notes. Of course, I got to give y'all the injury update. Then we're just going to get straight into the Rico report with a lot of random topics. First of all, there's a report that the burgundy and gold franchise see Taylor Heinicke potentially as our future franchise quarterback. Of course, we have more NFC lease news updates. Just a chaotic division to be in, man. And the poor Giants is just something every day. How much is the Washington football team franchise worth? Where do we rank amongst NFL teams? And much more. But before we get in all of that, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell next to the subscription button so you get a notification immediately. And every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one of my Rico reports where it's a whole bunch of stuff mixed into one big video. Also, make sure you check out the rest of the channel. All of my videos are organized in playlists. I even have a comedy playlist for all of my funny videos. Be on the lookout for more rookie film sessions. I'm about to start cramming those, so again, be on the lookout for that. All channel members get the long, full-length versions of the film sessions, so definitely go become a channel member for the exclusive versions. You get every play that I analyze, and without further ado, let's get it. Alright, so y'all already know, man, I gotta do the injury update first. There were a few players that didn't even practice last night at that Friday night practice thing. And first of all, shouts out to everybody that went. I'm pretty sure that was so fun. I was able to see a couple of clips. I was watching the live Twitter thing that the Washington football team had going. That looked like a great time. I hope they do that every year. But Kyle Allen was not out there because of an ankle. Matt Ioannidis was not there. He's working back from the COVID-19 list. Charles Leno had an excused personal matter. William Jackson was just, you know, kind of chilling, doing interviews and stuff like that. Sammis Reyes is still out with the knee again. For many reasons I've stated in previous videos, I think he's going to end up on the injured reserve. Then wide receiver Kelvin Harmon got hurt the previous practice, still wasn't available today. Defensive end Shaka Toney, Casey Toohill, and then guard center Keith Ishmael all did not practice Friday night. So if you were wondering where they were, that's where they were. And now on to the Friday night important notes. First of all, FedEx Field looks beautiful. A lot of people are saying this is literally the best it's ever looked ever. Like, since we've been in FedEx Field, this is the best the field has ever looked and felt. Shouts out to Ron Rivera, Dan Snyder, Jason Wright, and everybody involved for putting the initiative forward to make sure that the field quality is way better. Remember, I did a whole report breaking down what they did to the field. You can go check that out if you want better details about it. Just know the field is way better. Even the practice field. Ron Rivera went out of his way to make sure that they even changed and updated the practice field. It didn't get as much of a makeover as FedEx Field did, but you can see just by the lack of serious injuries that we've had. I mean, you see other teams, players out here tearing ACLs and all kinds of season-ending injuries and things like that. We haven't had anything major, just little tweaks here and there. And even guys that were unhealthy, that were already injured, they're getting back healthy. So a mix of the new training staff, Ron Rivera's leadership, and these new field conditions is beautiful. Because I remember when mini camps first started, it rained the day before, and people were talking about how the old practice fields in Ashburn and Richmond, if it rained the day before, they would have had to practice inside the next day. You don't have to do that anymore now that the field is upgraded. It's beautiful. And just overall, they're working to revamp this entire organization. They are not playing, and they're willing to pay out of pocket for everything. Whatever it takes to win the fans back. You saw that great speech Rivera gave. This is the time to buy back into the Washington football team fan base, to create a great atmosphere at FedEx Field, to cheer as loud as you can, to show up to every game, home and away. It is time to take back home field advantage. Again, Rivera, Jason Wright, Dan Snyder, and everybody else involved are fully invested into turning everything around. There are big changes on the way, and again, they are not afraid to spend money to repair all of the damage that happened through Bruce Allen and the old Dan Snyder, evil Dan Snyder. And of course, if you watch my videos, I typically go by order of position. That's what we're going to do here. We're going to start with the QBs. First of all, one thing to note, you should already know this just from Ryan Fitzpatrick being our projected week 1 starting quarterback until further notice, and with the new and improved weapons we have on the team, and our best weapon, Terry McLaurin, got even better over the offseason, working out with Doug Baldwin, working on his release specifically, that this team is going to have big plays after big plays after big plays. It's going to be a lot of chunk yardages. We're going to throw down the field. It's going to be fun. I already did an entire video breaking down why we're going to have the most explosive offense in the NFL, even more explosive than the Chiefs. You can go check that video out as well. I mean, I bring advanced statistics, PFF rankings, advanced metrics, everything you need to know on the quarterback end, the offensive coordinator end, and all of the weapons, running back, tight end, receiver, all of that. So make sure you go check that out. But you could even see it in the Friday night practice, because we are potentially going to have the best defense in the NFL. And the fact that we're able to get big plays off as an offense against that shows that they're going to be able to do it against anybody. But there's also going to be those random interceptions, especially early on, until Fitzpatrick gains perfect chemistry with his receiving group. And it's really interesting too, because this is Ryan Fitzpatrick's first time ever doing anything at FedEx Field. It's wild to think about because he's been all over the NFL. He's been on several teams. It's amazing that he's never played in Landover before. He's even been sacked by Sean Taylor, but has never played at FedEx Field. It's a crazy coincidence. But Fitzpatrick was clicking on all cylinders for the majority of the Friday night practice. I mean, he was able to hit Adam Humphries back to back to back. And then one play, he tried to hit Cam Sims. It was miscommunication. Cam Sims ran a different route. Still not exactly sure whose fault it was. I think it was Cam Sims's. From several reporters that I'm hearing about, it just seems like it was his fault in a way. And Benjamin St-Juste was able to get the interception. I'm hoping that that doesn't happen a lot early on, but I'm kind of bracing for it because, again, we just brought in Ryan Fitzpatrick. It's really early into their relationship. Even though he has better chemistry with Logan Thomas, Terry McLaurin, and just everybody in general, more than I thought he would at this point. He's ahead of schedule, but he's still liable to throw some interceptions, not even just because of his gunslinger mentality, but because of miscommunication like he had with Cam Sims right there. Great job by Benjamin St-Juste to get that easy interception, because some guys drop easy interceptions. We've seen that for our team for years now. Also, Taylor Heinicke had a pretty good day, up and down. He had one interception though that he threw to John Bostic trying to hit John Bates. It was a forced red zone pass. John Bates was covered well, and that's one thing you don't typically hear John Bostic playing good coverage, but apparently he did, and he got a nice interception. We'll see if that actually holds true throughout the season, if John Bostic cannot be a liability in coverage. But again, Taylor Heinicke had his ups and downs, and he had some pretty good throws, especially one that he threw to Dyami Brown. That one was beautiful. Now moving on to the O-line. It's a lot of things to talk about, but I think the most notable things to take from Friday night's practice is that Cornelius Lucas was working with the ones at left tackle. I think Charles Leno is still going to start at left tackle, but that was just really interesting to look at. Maybe Cornelius Lucas starts over Charles Leno and Samuel Cosmi starts at right tackle. Who knows? It's really interesting though. We got to keep track of that. And speaking of Samuel Cosmi, he's getting better and better. Every time he steps on that field, he's literally improving. Ever since we were able to put on pads, that was his biggest jump of improvement. And then every day since then, he's just been getting better and better and better. And that's great to hear. Because first of all, he's going against the best edge rusher duo in the NFL. And if he can get better against them, imagine how easy it's going to seem when he goes against other guys. It's so beautiful. And then the fact that Chase Young and Montez Sweat have different styles of pass rushing, that allows Samuel Cosmi to learn how to block against any and everything. It's not even like Chase Young and Montez Sweat are the same person. So that's what makes it even better. He's getting attacked in versatile ways. I think the only thing he's missing is like a Von Miller, Khalil Mack, smaller, speedier guy. But even then, Chase Young and Montez Sweat, even as huge as they are, they're very fast as well. Especially Chase Young when his ball get off. So Samuel Cosmi's getting some of that as well. Now moving on to the running backs. Most notable thing is that Antonio Gibson looks almost fully healthy, like as close to 100% healthy as it gets. You could probably say like 99.99%. He's right there. Again, like I reported in a previous video recently, they're not holding him back at all. He's full contact, 100% participant, doing every drill, every team drill, every scrimmage, all of that. 11 on 11s, he's a full go. And that's great news to hear, because he's going to have a prominent role on this offense. And a lot of people, even outside of the Burgundy and Gold Nation, like I reported a couple of days ago, even Maurice Jones-Drew feels like he's going to be the next Christian McCaffrey, and we need him to be healthy to do that. Now the wide receivers. First of all, Adam Humphries is one of the locks officially now. He was already kind of like that tier below the locks, but now it's like Terry McLaurin, Curtis Samuel, Cam Sims, Dyami Brown, Adam Humphries, and not even exactly in that order, because honestly Dyami Brown as of right now may be fifth, even though I think his talent could surpass everybody but Terry McLaurin at some point. Maybe even in this season, maybe even early on, he'll look like the second best receiver. I'm gonna talk about that a little bit later, but right now my focus is on Adam Humphries, and he is for sure making this roster. After those 5, if we keep 6 or 7, everybody else is fighting for 1 or 2 spots at most. It's crazy because Adam Humphries looks really good. I mean, some people are saying he may be our best slot corner since Jamison Crowder, which is crazy too, because Steven Sims towards the end of his rookie season looked really good, and they're saying Adam Humphries may not be as electric, but it'll be far more dependable and consistent, which is huge for us, especially Ryan Fitzpatrick, having a safety blanket. And then to Dyami Brown, unguardable. I mean, he killed Benjamin St-Juste down the sideline for a 40-yard TD at some point. Benjamin St-Juste is having an immaculate camp. We're going to talk about him a little bit later, but the fact that Dyami Brown is doing this to Benjamin St-Juste is more of a testament to how great Dyami Brown is and not how much work Benjamin St-Juste has to do. Dyami Brown is just one of those guys who's going to be uncoverable. Like I said, I think he's going to be only second to Terry McLaurin on this team. And if we didn't have a Terry McLaurin, we'd probably be far more hyped about a Dyami Brown, because a lot of people, even outside of Burgundy and Gold Nation, feel like Dyami Brown can literally become Terry McLaurin, or like a Stephon Diggs. Those are both very close comps to each other, because the only person you can really compare Terry McLaurin to in the NFL is a Stephon Diggs. So Dyami Brown is a part of that comp. And then again, he's just balling out. And the great thing about Dyami Brown potentially becoming such a deadly receiver, and then you could put him at XYZ slot, whatever, outside, inside, whatever you want him to do, run whatever route. Very nuanced route runner early on already. It's crazy. I mean, he literally has the same exact career trajectory as a Terry McLaurin. Drafted in the 3rd round. People thought coming out of college he wasn't a good route runner because his college team just simply didn't ask him to run a lot. That doesn't necessarily mean that he can't. And then in camp, buzzing, making a lot of noise, making a lot of plays. All you hear is his name being repeated over and over again. I mean, it's literally the Terry McLaurin experience. But we'll see what he does when we actually play on Sundays. But what I was trying to say was the great thing about Dyami Brown being able to ball out, especially it seems like early on, is that this will allow Scott Turner to do what he wants to do with Curtis Samuel, and that's move him everywhere to create favorable matchups play after play, whether he's in the backfield, in the slot, wherever. Having a 1-2 punch with Terry McLaurin and Dyami Brown, I think is potentially going to be one of the best wide receiver duos in the NFL. Will allow Curtis Samuel to make plays wherever you want him, any given play. It's beautiful. Then the tight ends, we already know Logan Thomas is a baller. We know that John Bates is going to be really good. I've already told y'all about Samus Reyes, that he's more than likely going to end up on the injured reserve, more so as a strategy thing. But the most notable thing about the tight ends group, and it further proved itself Friday night, is that Tamarick Hemingway is your tight end too. He's literally the 2nd best tight end right now. You can say that John Bates is a better inline blocker, like mixing it up with the edge rushers, but Tamarick Hemingway is a better move blocker, to where he can get to the 2nd level and block linebackers and safeties and corners and things like that. And then Hemingway is the better receiving tight end as of right now over John Bates as well. So I think we're going to have a great 1 to 3 tight end group. We went from last year, before Logan Thomas became the Logan Thomas we know, wondering if we even had 1 competent tight end. Now we have 3. I'm super excited because John Bates, who's 3rd right now in the depth chart, is the one that Chris Cooley and Zach Ertz love. And since they know the tight end position as well as they do, I'm also hyped about John Bates. Then moving on to the defense, defensive line wise, I mean, they did what they normally do. Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, they're all going to dominate. There's just nothing really to note there. But one cool thing is that Tim Settle, one-on-one with Chase Roulier, a top 5 center in the NFL, drove him back 12 yards into the backfield. That is literally our 4th defensive tackle on the depth chart versus a top 5 center in the NFL doing that. When Daron Payne, Jonathan Allen, Matt Ioannidis sit for some rest, we don't miss much of a step with Tim Settle at all. And then the linebackers, nothing very noteworthy. I mean, Jamin Davis is still learning. Looks like a freak athlete out there, but still got some things to learn. But he's definitely ahead of schedule. Just like Samus Reyes, just like Ryan Fitzpatrick, they may not exactly be at where you want them to, but they're definitely ahead of schedule. And then John Bostic getting an interception in coverage. If he can cover well, it's going to be hard to deny him from getting on the field, because that's one of his biggest weaknesses. The main problem that all of us have with him is his coverage and how much of a liability he is in that department. The only reason he really gets playing time is that he's our smartest linebacker right now. He has the best instincts. He's able to call the defense. He's literally the quarterback of the defense, get everybody where they need to be. calling audibles, calling out whatever the offense is doing so the rest of the defense can be aware and adjust to it. Like, that's literally Jon Bostic's role. He's the brain of the defense, whereas Cole Holcomb, Jamin Davis, Khaleke Hudson, as of right now, are far more athletic than him. They just got to catch up mentally. Once Jamin Davis is able to take over that role, Jon Bostic won't have much of a niche on this team, but as of right now, we'll see how far Jamin Davis can get, especially with some preseason games, to see by week 1 if he's ready to take over that Mike linebacker role. If not, he'll probably start at Will and Jon Bostic will start at Mike. Then the cornerback group, of course, Benjamin St-Juste balling out, and it's easy to conclude that he's gonna play a lot. Even if he doesn't start at the outside corner spot opposite of William Jackson, especially early on, he's still going to be in the game a lot. So whenever he plays outside corner, you already know Kendall Fuller, elite slot corner. Good outside corner, elite slot corner. He has the potential to be the best slot corner in the NFL if he moves back to his best position, especially behind a defensive line like this and with how great the secondary is around him. He only has to worry about his one job. I expect Kendall Fuller to ball out if we end up moving him back to the slot, especially permanently. I don't think we should factor in how much he's getting paid. I really don't. If Benjamin St-Juste is better at covering Mike Evans, Kenny Golladay, Julio Jones, DeAndre Hopkins, the bigger receivers of the league, then let him do it. I don't care how much Kendall Fuller's getting paid. He's better suited to cover the slot anyway. You want your best players on the field in any given play. That's the way to do it. And then also, Torrey McTyer was out there making play after play after play. I mean, you could honestly say he was one of the best performers at that Friday night practice last night. And I'm pretty sure coaches have taken notice, because he was definitely one of those guys on the outside looking in, may not even make the roster. But with how many plays he made last night, they definitely have to take it into consideration and probably rewatch his film to see if they missed something. He definitely made a statement. The safeties, not much to note there. So moving on to special teams. First of all, Steven Sims was the first to take punts on the return drills. I don't know what that means. We'll see if that translates into him starting as the punt returner. I doubt it after what we saw last year. But if he's having that great of a camp, like a lot of people are saying, maybe he will. Because first of all, he's having a great camp at slot. I believe it was Logan Paulson that literally said he's definitely one of the 6 best receivers out there as far as who's having the best camps right now. And then if he could contribute in special teams again, like he did his rookie season, unlike what he did last year, he's pretty much almost a lot to make the roster, which is crazy because he was a super dark horse. Originally, especially like immediately after the draft, I thought Steven Sims was the furthest on the outside looking in. But now it looks like he may actually be a strong contention for one of those last receiver spots. Also, shouts out to Dustin Hopkins. He made a 61-yard field goal on that Friday night practice. If he can make those at home, we'll figure out what he does on away games. But if he can consistently make great, crazy field goals like that at FedEx Field, I can deal with that. Got to make the short ones too, though. And then also something to note in a bad way, man, that rookie Cameron Cheeseman was the catalyst for 2 really bad special teams plays. I mean, literally back to back. One time he threw it to Tressway and Tressway couldn't even like handle it right. So they got to get that chemistry together. I know Tressway misses Nick Sundberg right now, but him and Cameron Cheeseman got to figure it out. And then immediately the play afterwards, after they ran it back, which in a real game you wouldn't be able to. That's just over with. You failed, move on, bring your defense out. The next time, Tressway could barely get it down in time for Dustin Hopkins to kick it. I mean, they got to figure that out. And I love the fact that Ron Rivera went up to him and talked to him immediately, because that was really scary. We got to get that right before the season starts, because that's going to be huge. Now we're on to the official Rico report. First up, there's a report that there's a very strong belief within the Washington organization and locker room, especially like amongst the players, and that's probably the most important, that Taylor Heinicke could be the future franchise quarterback of this team. It's reported that some players and coaches believe he could become the permanent starter even as soon as this season at some point. So we'll see how that goes. But that's really interesting to hear that it's not only coaches, but players that love him. I mean, the way he balled out against the Bucs, even though he hasn't had a really good training camp, Ryan Fitzpatrick has outplayed him in training camp. You can't deny what we've seen him do against the Bucs for that 1 quarter against the Panthers. Players are taking notice and coaches are taking notice. We'll see. That's a really interesting report. The fact that that even leaked out is crazy. Next up, the Washington football team's value. Forbes came out with their most valuable NFL teams a couple of days ago. Cowboys are first, worth $6.5 billion. Patriots are second, worth $5 billion. Giants are third, worth $4.85 billion. Rams are fourth, worth $4.8 billion. And we are fifth, worth $4.2 billion. which is crazy because the past 30 years haven't been much to gloat about. That's still amazing that we're the 5th most valuable franchise. And if we can string together some very successful seasons under this Ron Rivera era, I think we may be able to pass the Rams. Because again, the fact that we're holding on to 5th in the NFL and we've been, I mean, you could say honestly just overall terrible the past 30 years. That's wild. And now we're on to the random section. First of all, ESPN ranked teams by their under 25 talent. We came in at number 2, only behind the Dolphins. And I'm pretty sure if we had a definitive franchise quarterback, like if we were to take my option in this upcoming draft and trade up for like a Malik Willis or however the cards fall, we ended up getting one of those top quarterbacks, I'm pretty sure we would be number 1. I'm pretty sure the Dolphins mainly get the edge to number 1 because of Tua Tagovailoa, and they're assuming that he's gonna ball out. But like if you just look at like receivers, running backs, edge rushers, offensive line, and all of that, I think we have the Dolphins beat. But again, quarterback is the most important position in the NFL. That's why I believe in us taking a risk on one so bad, because if you hit big, and it pretty much not guarantees a Super Bowl, but it at least gives you a seat at the table. Also, very random news, today was the Hall of Fame enshrinement and everything. Everybody giving their speeches. Shouts out to Edgerrin James for his great speech. Make sure you check that out if you haven't. But on a very random note, we are tied for 2nd with like 4 or 5 teams for the most Hall of Famers out of any franchise in the NFL. We are tied for 2nd with 32. Also in super random news, if you care, Robert Griffin, remember there was a bidding war between ESPN and Fox to get him to become an analyst on one of their networks. Robert Griffin eventually accepted ESPN's, but he has it in his contract to where if somebody offers him a football job, like one at the NFL where he can play quarterback, backup quarterback, or whatever, he's able to just get out of his contract and do that and maybe come back. I'm not sure, because they apparently really want him, so whenever he's ready to full-blown dedicate himself to being an ESPN analyst and personality, I'm pretty sure they would take him back with open arms. And then lastly, in random news, the Washington football team signed offensive tackle Cole Boozer, and that's a pretty funny name. That's one of the main reasons I wanted to announce that. And then to end the video, man, more NFC least drama. It seems like every video I do, we have to talk about something else because it's something else happening. I mean, if you go and check all of my videos towards the end of each of them, I'm just giving y'all constant updates on all of the chaos and turmoil going on amongst the Giants, Cowboys, and Eagles. The Giants are definitely leading the division in unnecessary chaos right now. And to add on top of it, Giants center Joe Looney, who signed with the team on Saturday, is retiring from the NFL. He is the 2nd player to sign with the Giants and then retire a few days later. Because remember, linebacker Todd Davis retired on Tuesday after also signing on Saturday. And it's crazy too because they just must be seeing the chaos that's going down, the lack of discipline. Remember the all-out brawl where their starting quarterback, Daniel Jones, is at the bottom of the pile. Kelvin Benjamin aired out all of their dirty laundry. Again, I'm not going to assume what he said was right, but at this point, with how much chaos and craziness that's going on amongst the Giants organization, maybe Kelvin Benjamin is at least a little right. And then all of the injuries, Kenny Golladay, their star free agent signing, even before his nagging injury just came back to bite him just a few days ago. He was dropping easy passes. I mean, it's just crazy over there. I mean, they lost their starting left guard for the season to an injury. And it's even crazier too because Joe Looney just had a presser. Like, he just had a presser like everything was normal, and then suddenly he just retires the next day. It is wild. But literally just over the last week, linebacker Todd Davis, center Joe Looney, and guard Zach Fulton have all retired. And again, they lost their starting left guard to a season-ending injury, and Kenny Golladay still hasn't been able to get right since his Lions days. We'll see though. Hopefully Saquon Barkley can finally put together a fully healthy season. We'll see how healthy Adoree Jackson can be as well. And then on the Eagles side, Eagles reporters are like scared. They've been putting out all kinds of articles about how horrible the offense was in practice today, earlier today. All in all, they were like, it's just one practice, so there's no need to alarm. But they said it was absolutely terrible. At this rate, the Eagles are easily going to be the worst team in the division. But we'll see. Don't want to read into one practice too much, but I got to report what's going on. Again, this is coming from Eagles reporters. This is not me. This is not Brady and Gold reporters. These are actual Eagles reporters being brutally honest about how terrible the offense looks right now. But that's the end of this Rico report. Please get in the comment section. Let me know how you feel about everything discussed in this video. Please like this video if you liked it. If you learned anything, I'm pretty sure you learned something, so you gotta leave a like on the way out. Also, Shouts out to all of my sponsors, man. Big shouts out to all of my sponsors, especially my Pro Bowl sponsors whose names you see scrolling on the screen right now, man. I really appreciate all y'all. Shouts out to everybody that donates to the channel. I will be live streaming tomorrow, my typical Sunday live stream. Can't wait. We have lots to talk about with training camp and all of that. I'm excited. And of course, I will be live streaming during every preseason game and every regular season game. So be on the lookout for that as well. I'll catch y'all later. I'm out.